So the Dean of the Yale Law School, Harold Koh, was nominated on March 23rd to be the next legal advisor to the State Department. I'm sorry the State Department keeps on becoming a central issue here. And for the better part...
We're all sorry.
And for the better part of the last month, I've been spending most of my time researching what he has said and written in the past regarding his fitness for this position. So, and we've been working with a great number of people, both inside and outside of Heritage, to put together information for the Senate on whether or not Mr. Koh is the best candidate for this particular position. Some of you may have this letter in front of you. I don't think I brought enough copies for everyone, but it's the one with the American flag in the corner. And that's a letter that kind of bullet points some of the major objections about Mr. Koh. Now, normally you're allowed, as a president, to select your closest advisors and not get a lot of flack about it. But if you take a review of Mr. Koh's writings and speeches and positions and quotes over the years, a pattern forms where objections have to be put forward. Some of the ones that are most relevant to this group dealing with national security is his proclivity to require authorization from the UN Security Council before we use force. And we saw how popular this was with the American people when John Kerry said during a debate that American use of force would have to pass some type of global test. Well, Mr. Koh is much more explicit on this point, and has said in an article that because the United States did not get authorization from the UN Security Council in 2003, its invasion of Iraq violated international law, which I think everyone in this room would agree is an extreme position to take, given that at the time the majority of Americans and the majorities in Congress and the President and everyone said, go use force in Iraq. And Mr. Koh is on the other side of the issue saying that's a violation of international law. And more troubling, it's opportunistic and hypocritical, because back in 1999, when he was in the State Department as the head of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, he fully supported the bombing in Serbia, even though that it had no Security Council authorization at all. So it's okay when a Democrat's in office to use force without the Security Council, but when a Republican's in office, any use of force without their authorization is a violation of international law. He's also a big fan of the International Criminal Court, another issue that will certainly come to a head, perhaps over the next 4 years, likely over the next 4 years. And you made reference to this, Frank, about the prosecution of U.S. officials for torture. This is a cute way to go about it. Right now, Eric Holder says that they're not going to prosecute any of the CIA interrogators, and the President said that as well. Of course, that wouldn't stop the International Criminal Court, if we were a party to that treaty, from filing indictments against those CIA interrogators. In fact, it's a conditioned precedent that the President says, well, we're not going to prosecute those individuals. That's what gives rise to jurisdiction at the International Criminal Court. And they play a cute game right now that Eric Holder says, well, we're not going to, we've asked the Spanish government not to prosecute the Bush Six, or at least they've said so quietly. At the same time, they said they will provide evidence and documents and information upon request from the Spanish courts. So it's a bit of a dance they have. And why this is important is because Mr. Koh is going to be the linchpin. He's going to be the choke point, if confirmed, over the next 4 years on all of these treaties. The legal advisor position is at the center of it all. We had a good one, not a great one, but a good one in John Bellinger for the past many years, who was a publicly defended Bush policies on the war on terrorism and other issues around the world, while he was trying to change things on the inside. But at least publicly, he was a great defender of the ongoing policies. And that's why this position is so important, because for the next 4 years, if confirmed, Mr. Koh is going to be traveling the world, representing the United States at UN conferences and legal cabals, and negotiating UN Security Council resolutions and treaty negotiations. And he's at the center of the storm when the ICC comes up, when the Cedaw Treaty comes up, when the Convention on the Rights of the Child, Law of the Sea, he's going to be a very, very loud voice in the room. And so I would urge you, if you're in Senate offices or can reach out to Senate offices, his vote comes up in the committee on Tuesday. So a very short time if you actually want to reach out to members that are on the Foreign Relations Committee. It's likely he will sail through Foreign Relations Committee on a heavy vote, although his hearing was difficult for him because every questioned him on all of these issues that he has. But it's never too, as soon as he gets out of committee on Tuesday, they can put him on a floor vote as soon as they want to. And so timing is of the essence here. If you can reach out to your senators that you have relationships with and raise some of these issues with them. If you're a House staff or have contacts in the House offices, reach out to them too. There's a sovereignty caucus that is getting up and going in the House right now that's addressing this issue, and they're actually collecting signatures for a letter right now to the Senate raising a lot of these issues about Mr. Coe and his nomination. And I would ask you if you want to reach out to either Congressman Lamborn's office, Congressman McCotter's office, or Congressman Garrett's office. They're the three co-chairs on the Sovereignty Caucus if you want to get involved on the House side.